Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Intuitive Angling. And man, I really appreciate you guys swinging by the channel and spending some of your day with me. You're going to be happy you did, guys, because I'm going to show you what I consider probably the best June bass fishing lure that nobody uses. It's like this thing is like off the radar completely. And really, not just June, but actually sometime in the month of May, I catch a ton of fish on this thing. And the way they hit this deal, it's probably the most exciting bass fishing you'll ever see it. So I'm going to show you what it is, give you guys some tips and advice on how to fish it in today's episode. I'm also, guys, big thank you out there to everybody that's taken time to hit that subscribe button here at Intuitive Angling. We're about 2,000 subscribers short of reaching that 150,000 subscriber mark. Be much appreciated if you guys could hit that if you like the content. And also, guys, I'd like to invite you to please swing by and check out my Fish of the Moment lake map breakdowns. You guys have heard me talking about that. We got the summer breakdowns up on the site right now. These are maps I built specifically for Fish of the Moment that give you 40 GPS waypoints on all your favorite lakes across the country. Download straight to your electronic unit. You can go to those waypoints, tips and advice on how to fish them, and then you can duplicate that in different parts of the lake once you see what to look for from a seasonal perspective. So I'll put the Fish of the Moment lake map breakdown link in the description. Really appreciate that. Okay, guys, here it is, man. This is the Deps Silent Killer right here, made by Deps Lure Company. And let me give you a little history on this, and I'll tell you, get into the tips and advice to fish it. I was fishing with a Japanese co-angler up at Lake Champlain it's probably been over 20 years ago. And he had this thing tied on, and we weren't, at the time, he wasn't fishing it because we were jerkbait fishing. But he was telling me about all the giant fish he catches on this thing. And he showed me how to fish it and explained it. And he just went on and on about the big fish that he caught on it. So after that tournament, I bought a couple of them and tried it myself from what he said. Guys, I could not believe it. This was June when he told me about this, so I got them in June. And I have never seen bass attack a lure so aggressively as they do this Silent Killer here. Also, guys, I'll link this in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description if you guys would like to try one after the video. I get them there just like you guys do. I don't get any deal. I buy them just same like you guys do at Tackle Warehouse, but I'll link it in the description. But this is about a 5.5 inch. It's a hard, but it's got a soft feel to it. It's got a segmented body in it, and it's got a flat lip on it. So it's basically like a hybrid wake bait, swim bait. So there's some tips on this I want to give you because this is a very sensitive bait to fish. You have to do it just right in order to create the action that the fish really like. So let me talk a little bit about that, then I'll talk about the type of areas it works in good. So the thing on this bait, it's a floater, but it's a very, very slow floater. It stays on the surface, but it's a pretty heavy bait and it's not real buoyant, so it doesn't take much, in other words, to reel it to get it to go under the water. And you do not want it to go under the water. You want it to stay on the surface or just maybe half of the lure under the water. And since the bait is on the borderline of being almost too heavy to be a topwater lure, you have really got to do it right in order to get this action. And when you get the action right, it goes through the water just like that, like a fish swimming. And it's sort of like a wake bait. It pushes out a little bit of water, but at the same time, it pushes water forward. So when it's going through the water like this, you can reel it slow and it really looks like an injured fish going across the water like that because of the flat lip on it. So that's the way you want to reel it. So let's talk a little bit about how to do this specifically in order to get this thing to work. So first of all, you got to have the right, you're going to have the right line and rod and setup with the thing. You got to use monofilament line on it, and most of the time I like a little bit heavier, so I'm usually using anywhere between, say, 20 is probably my favorite. You can get by, just get your spool of 20-pound mono because you're not making real long casts on this thing anyway. And then when you cast it out there, throw it out there, and you got to keep your rod tip at about a 10 o'clock position. You don't want it too high, you don't want it too low. Put it about a 10 o'clock position. And you just want to reel it slow like that and occasionally stop it. Reel it slow and occasionally stop it. Because what's going to happen is even if you reel this thing slow and you start, maintaining that slow pace, eventually it wants to dig under the water. And anytime that it does that, you need to let it float back up and just keep it just on the surface. Sort of where it's creating this disturbance. But if you reel it too fast, it's going to dive underneath the water. So there's a fine line in the speed of keeping it moving and keeping it going and not having it dive under the water. Once you get used to it, it's pretty easy to do. But even for me, as much as I fished it, it takes a little bit of effort, and you really have to pay attention to it because it has to be worked just right in order for these fish to hammer the thing. So like I said, just nice slow retrieve, just like that, coming through the water. Okay, now the main thing is where you want to fish this thing and the type of areas. Now, I will say one thing about this bait, guys. I have never seen in my entire life how aggressive they hit a bait. I fished every type of topwater there is, every type of glide bait, swim bait. When you get this thing working good, they will come out of nowhere and just absolutely annihilate the thing, the way it's coming through the water. So from my perspective, as far as the success I've had on this, you have got to throw it past a target where there's an ambush point. So my number one favorite place to fish it around is around sides and corners of boat docks, in the post spawn. Like after those fish have spawned and they're garden fry, maybe they're getting ready to, move out to their summer areas, take this thing and fish it around the sides and the corners of boat docks. And the water visibility needs to be, probably at least 2.5 foot in clarity. Like the perfect water clarity, I think, is sort of that, 2 to 4 foot zone is perfect for it. Just about the same type of water clarity that's good for a lot of topwaters. But throw this thing around the corner of boat docks, they'll come out and hammer it. If you have any flooded vegetation, like flooded bushes or trees in the water, reeling it next to some flooded bushes, they will come out of those flooded bushes and annihilate it. Same with any hard object. Lay down trees in the water, a lay down log in the water, a stump in the water, and specifically, if you get, say, back in the back of a cove where you got a lot of shade coming in, like you got overhanging trees, and the back of these coves have a lot of bluegill that spawn in the summertime, throw this Deps Silent Killer in those shady areas, back in those flat, shady type of zone with that, and they'll just annihilate it. So anyway, guys, called the Deps Silent Killer. I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of the video. Now's the time of year. The time of filming this video, it's the last week of May. We are in the perfect time right now. So I'd suggest, guys, after this video, they're going to get sold out at Tackle Warehouse. So, I'd try to order some today if you guys want to try it. But it's so fun to fish, man. You guys will, once you get one and try it, you'll understand what I'm talking about there. So hope it helps you guys catch some good ones. We'll talk later.